This venison, if you've got the poached pears, which in this case we have, you saw what I did before, and it's just, and the colour is absolutely amazing. And a nice way to do this is a savoury way, is to put some port in it, because apart from anything else, the port gives it a great flavour. A lot of people avoid, they'll use red wine, but if you use a port is it's got much thing with flavour. Speaking to the gentleman earlier about venison. Again, when you're doing any sort of venison dish, if you've got a leg cut or something like that, you want to roast it, slow roast it, or braise it preferably. It needs a bit of moisture. As you can see, these have been taken off and they're virtually fat-free. There's no fat in them at all. So the problem there being is, any long, slow cooking requires moisture. So if you're going to cook a bit of venison for any length of time, make sure there's a lot of moisture in it. This is why I prefer doing this dish the way I am, because from start to, if your pear's ready and you've got your bits and pieces today, you can start and finish this dish in less than 3 minutes. And everybody's going on, and I'd never serve venison absolutely rare, never, because for two things: most people won't eat it, and secondly, I prefer it when it's still slightly pink to keep the moisture in it, but never ever serve it, just flash it and then leave it. So I think the difference between, again, I use the olive oil for that, basically for the flavour. For this, for any other cooking that we normally do, I always use a standard, cheers Doug, some oil. For the simple reason, when it comes to Scottish cookery, there's a lot of foods do not go with olive oil. And if you go back into the history books, because an old dear once sort of pulled me up for using ginger in recipes, and how un-Scottish ginger was. The first recipe I came across for using ginger in Scotland was about 1596, early 1600s, because the Crusaders brought them back from when they were in over. And if you think about ginger, gingerbread, ginger ale, ginger wine, practically every cake that we've ever got has got ginger in it. So there is a bit of heritage there. So I'm using a cast iron pan here because you get more heat in it. And a little bit of oil on the bottom, but you can see it's smoking. It's not burnt, but it has got a bit of heat on it. There's a great debate whether you want to season meat before, after, during. One thing I would say, don't season it unless you're going to cook it straight away, because as soon as you add the salt, it draws the moisture out of the meat. So if you're going to add the seasoning, do it when you're cooking with it. Right, we have the pear, which I don't need to reheat. The glaze in this is absolutely amazing. The venison. In case anybody's getting overly excited and thinking, my God, that's a great portion, yeah, this is for show. You'd only get 2 bits normally, but get it in, sear it, get it in straight away. A bit of salt. For my £1. I thought it was a bag. You're getting 2 for £1. You can't beat it. The other thing about cooking, you can actually hear it cooking. If you put it in the pan and you can't hear it, you turn around, it's wearing sunglasses and coating itself in coconut oil, then it's sunbathing, and it doesn't do it any good. It needs to cook. Don't be frightened of the heat. The other thing is as well, and don't poke it, that's the other thing. People like to poke things when they're in pans. Is that ready? I'll poke it. No, I'm not quite sure, I'll poke it again. It's difficult. That's the most difficult thing to teach a young chef is when something is cooked when it's not cooked. Because it's dead easy if you take it out and cut it in half and go, no, it's not cooked, and put it back in again. You can't do that. And technically, it's all about touch, and it is all about feel. And you can't really do it unless you've done it. It's one of these strange things. For the sauce, I'm not using the old metal pan. The reason I'm using the sauce because if you've got wine or something in the pan, it reacts with the metal. And sometimes you can get a slightly metallic taste for it. So use a different pan. Again, you'll see the colour of this. This is like a basic sauce that we use, and we'll add various different bits and pieces to it. You can see the colour of these, and I haven't touched them. All I've done is turn them over. And as I say, I don't like to serve them too rare. A little bit of chive. The reason I like adding a bit of chive, apart from adding it as a bit of colour, it adds a little bit of flavour as well. And the fact that the chives are quite mild, you could chop an onion and put in a bit of bits and pieces. The versatility of this is great. The other way I serve this is with stovies. I started a debate on stovies one time. It's like asking two Italians how to make minestrone soup. Everybody's got their own recipe. But with the stovies, really, really go well with it. We shall take our pear. See, this is the trouble when you're up here. Normally I would have just taken that out. See, I have this little voice in my ear. I'm not sure whether it's, you know how people have imaginary friends? I have this little voice in my ear which keeps saying, don't use your fingers, don't use your fingers, don't use your fingers. I don't know where it comes from. You've got the lovely colour on the pear. You've got your venison medallions. Basically take them out and just let them rest for a second. On there, you've got the sauce. As I say, if you've got this from scratch, the bramble just give it a nice little bite. The sauce, you'll see the shine on the sauce, and the shine comes from by reducing it down, and also the fact that you've added some redcurrant jelly or a little bit of bramble jelly, even a little bit. Good thing for this is marmalade. We actually use one for a ginger marmalade, and add a spoonful of marmalade to it, and you get a bit of taste, whether it's lime, whatever, you get through it, and see how it's getting quite sticky. And I say, find a little bit of chopped chives through it. Okay.